Hello, friends. My name is Allison Adams. I am a transformational life coach. And today I have the privilege of interviewing Isabelle Stephenson for the Powerball retreat team. And this is a dynamic group. And today we're highlighting this dynamic woman. So welcome, Isabelle.
Well, thank you so much, Allison. It's a pleasure to be with you today.
So can we just have everyone get to know you right from the start? Anything that you want to highlight, how you got here, and basically who you are?
All right, I'll start with where I came from. So I was born in France, actually, but grew up in Germany as a baby. We moved to Germany. My mom was German, my dad French, and I stayed in Germany 21 years. Lost my mom at the very young age of 6, and that kind of stays with you forever because you're not the same person without your mom. And then I moved to the United States because I met my husband during my stay as a nanny, and he was a friend of the family. So then my life changed big time as I moved to the United States. I did different things professionally, stayed home with my 6 children. I raised 6 children, still have my 2 youngest at home, and that's the most honor ever, to raise children, the toughest job too. And only like 2014, a whole new dream and passion started growing in my heart, as I had hired a coach for myself. She called herself a mentor, actually. And I was going through some difficult times with my oldest, who was then 21. Now he's 27. Now you do the math. But she helped me so much more than anything I have read in books, heard in church. I'm faith-based, so church, very encouraging, but there were things that they couldn't help me with. And I kind of knew in my heart that my parenting style never sat right with me. I was a very strict, loud mom. You wouldn't believe it, right? Everybody says I have such a soft voice. I was a yelling mom. Don't ask my kids, but if you do, they will tell you. And it never sat right. It never felt right. Until I found this woman, and then through listening to more experts on webinars and seminars and everything, I learned the magic of peaceful parenting and conscious parenting. And all that kind of started me wanting to be certified as a life coach, because I just loved what she did in my life. It transformed my life. And of course, when a woman's life is transformed, it transforms the lives of those in her circle, right? So my family is different now. I show up very differently. I know how to stay calm and grounded, which is really helpful for me and those around me. So I became certified in 2016 to pay forward what had been given to me.
Extraordinary story. And your gentleness and your conscious approach now is just a testament to what you practiced for all these years.
Yes.
And that is so beautiful.
And it's also, I wanted to give hope for anyone listening who is a mother. If I can stop yelling with 6, you can too. So, and also, and you're very familiar with this, when we have an intention of how we want to show up, you can actually change a lot of things in your life. And it starts with little things, right? Little, I call them 1% changes, because I work with mostly women. I should say what I do, right? I work with mostly women, some couples, and some guys here and there, and they like the logical approach of one of the tools I have, and of course the encouragement I give them in their relationships, right? So, but mostly women, and it's just, we get overwhelmed, right? If you have a woman in front of you who's like overwhelmed with difficult relationships, that's my sweet spot for some reason, difficult relationships, because I've had many, with children, with spouse, with my my dad's companion, who I never knew. Is she a mom? Is she a foster mom? Is she a stepmom? It was very, very complicated. So I kind of know now how I want to show up when things get difficult, and it can be peaceful, but I know how overwhelmed I felt. I know how frustrated I felt, and I know how much I cried and how hopeless certain things felt. So I don't ever want to overwhelm a woman that has chosen to work with me, because I know that feeling. And I just want to hold their hand and say, you can do one step today. And that's actually one reason I called my business Step by Step Relationship Coaching. It's way too long, but it's what came to me at that time. So I know I can encourage a woman to do one thing different in her daily life, and you build on that. It's like the compound effect, right? If you're familiar with the compound effect in the financial world, you invest a little and you leave it there, and the interest builds and builds and builds. And that's what I like to give to my clients is, you do this one step, but you do it over and over again, you have big changes just by doing this 1% change. So that to me is like magic, right? And it's also, our brains can take that in, because again, our brains always, for me to talk about the brain a little bit, and I'm no psychologist or anything, but I've learned from the best life coaches out there, and they all agree that the brain seeks pleasure and avoids pain, and it likes what's familiar. Well, we have a lot of things that are familiar to us, but they're not useful to us. Right? Like the thoughts that you think over and over again are very familiar to you, but not the least useful. So knowing that, and there is studies out there that prove that we can change our thoughts, we can change certain connections, right? Neuro connections. I can't think of the word right.
Neuroplasticity.
Neuroplasticity. That's a term. Thank you. We can grow. We can grow new connections, and we can actually retell even a story from our past in a different way. When I first heard that concept, that blew me away. It blew me away. It's like you can retell your story in a way that serves you now better and serves your future better. And not taking away from the past, not taking away from the pain, not taking away from the lessons you learn. But you know people, you all know people. If I'm talking to you, know somebody who retells the same story over and over and over. And it's like, yeah, I've heard that. And yeah, you're still stuck in it. So now what? Right? Sometimes we get so stuck in that we don't even realize there's another way. There's another way. So I'm not taking away any pain from the past, but I learned, and I can teach others how to reframe. It's one of my favorite words, how to reframe, how to renew, how to retell an old story. It's just beautiful.
Well, and that is, so you answered the next question I was going to ask. And so often people wonder, what does transformation, like a transformational coach, what does that actually mean? Well, you just gave the perfect example, that it's the subtlety
Mm-hmm.
and how we reframe, because that's just a very subtle awareness. Like, oh, I didn't even hear myself say that. I didn't even really pay attention to how I was interacting with my child or with my spouse, and all of these little things, when you know, soon they just fill up this jar. And when you take, the granules from one and put it into the jar,
Mm-hmm.
fills that new, you're seeing the progress and feeling, and I think that felt sense
Mm-hmm.
of, gosh, I don't yell anymore, is huge,
Huge.
because it's not leaving it in that energetic space that you're living in and co-creating with others. So again, just a testimony to all the work that you've done for yourself, and all that you hold and want to provide for others. So that's really
I love that
incredible.
picture of putting what is it? Like,
I just made that up. Yeah. So imagine that we have, two vases and they're
yes,
filled
and you
with
put
sand.
one in the new one. I
And
love
then,
that.
all of the, sand granules, because
Sand, yes,
the mind is just so resistant to change
yes,
because we think, oh gosh, and then again we look at all the things we want to change in our lives,
yes.
and then the brain goes,
No, no
no.
way, not going
And
there. Yeah,
even the people that you're with, if it's a new, it could be anything at all, they know you as that person.
oh, yes,
That keeps the story alive, the relational, energetics alive.
yes,
You change, everything's going to change.
that's right. That's right.
And it takes a woman with that intention to say, no, I want to make a difference for everyone. And it's going to require me and my stuff,
Exactly.
as you said. So,
Exactly. You said that beautifully. Oh my gosh, I love that.
oh,
And like again, the woman with the intention, and it's just such an honor to work with somebody who comes to you with an intention to change, and they know they're ready. They know they can change. I mean, that's the best scenario. That's a win-win. That's a win-win for both. And now, if I may share an example, the other day, I was coaching a client, and one of her goals, I always ask what their goals are. One of her goals was to speak up more. And she's the sweetest, kindest woman. So I knew she would always speak up with kindness. And then the other week, after like a few sessions, she gave me an example of how she spoke up. And she just kind of, was talking. I'm like, wait, you did it. You did it. You spoke up. You're learning. You're growing these new synapses. That's the word I was thinking
yes.
about. You're growing new synapses. And now, and this is what I told her now, you can look back and you can tell your brain, because your brain still wants to resist anything new, right? That, like you mentioned, it's so true. Now you can tell your brain, hey, brain, remember that day I spoke up? That was new and I did it and it worked and it was good and the outcome was good. So now the brain has proof. We're always looking for proof, and you can find proof for anything you want. You can find proof that you're gonna have a miserable day. You can find proof for that, no doubt. You can be upset at traffic, at somebody in the store, at somebody not wearing a mask, at your spouse, whatever. You can be mad at anything. You can find proof, or you can find proof for the opposite, right? So that's
Oh,
what I love to do. I love to pull out those wins that they might not even have noticed, and show it back to them. See what you did? That was awesome. So now your brain has proof that you can change and that you can speak up. So speaking up is really something really important. That for some reason my generation needs to learn that, right?
well, and that was a question that I was going to ask you next about. I know we're biased because we're coaches, but don't you feel that every woman needs a coach? Like every
Oh
person,
yes,
a coach.
yes,
We're never taught these things
yes,
when we
yes,
were young. And so we just are, falling into um, something that just feels right.
yes,
And then some women start out by saying, oh, absolutely. And they don't have reservation about it. And
yeah.
others are, thinking, well, maybe I don't really, need one. But what are your thoughts, and how do you, when women come to you and say, I'm thinking about it, what is it that you share with them that gets them to say, absolutely?
First of all, yes, every woman needs a coach. And I think as coaches have been trained to listen intently, and people just they just take that all in. They might not have anybody who knows how to do that with them. They've been criticized, they've been put down. They just need that platform that gives them the space to be who they are. So, and we're not psychologists, we're not telling them what to do, we just listen and draw out the good. So what I show my clients, if they're thinking about it, first of all, I always congratulate them for doing that first step, always. I tell them I respect you for reaching out, because that is the hardest step. And then if they're thinking about it, I just paint a picture of what their life could be. I just ask them and they tell me, and then I paint the picture for them what they can accomplish by working with me, and how good that will feel. So that's the simple process, really. painting a picture of how they will feel at the end of working on themselves and showing up as a better them, really. And they have to be willing to put in work. I always say we gotta put our hard hats on and our construction helmets and let's get to work.
Yes, it is. But I think women too are, we're just naturally geared for that,
Yes,
our ability to birth life. And so we know it for ourselves as
yes,
we raise our children. We see
yes,
all that we've contributed to their lives. And, yes, there were times where maybe we didn't model the
yes,
way that
correct.
would, but it was just part of the experience. And we always have that ability to shape the future. So love that. So would you tell me, I hear that there's something in your future that has to do with a lovely retreat that you'll be offering your clients. And so will you share what that would look like?
Yes, thank you, Alison. It's so exciting. So this is going to be in 2023. So it's quite some time from now, but get ready, get prepared. It's going to be from November 26th to December 16th in Zabianita, Italy. It's in northern Italy. And I'm so excited that my retreat will actually visit some towns that have Christmas markets. Now, somebody who grew up in Germany and is missing Christmas markets like you won't believe it. I'm gonna show my clients those Christmas markets and we're gonna go, enjoy the life experience of being there. So it's a retreat, 3 weeks, right? So 10 women each week, and it's gonna be very intimate. We're gonna get to know each other. We're gonna be a close circle, and it's gonna be on family, on relationships, because that's my sweet spot. So we're gonna talk about how we can show up in our relationships, right? There's going to be private coaching, group workshops, and a lot of traveling. It's going to be a luxury retreat where you will be picked up at the airport. There will be a welcome dinner and a cocktail party, goodbye, farewell dinner. So you will be treated as the VIP from day one till the end. And I'm just going to name some cities. You're
Great.
going to see Sabianetta. I hope I say that right. I think it's Sabianita. Verona, where Romeo and Juliet, was was happening, and Mantova, which has beautiful castle ground and imperial grounds, and then Venice. I've actually been to Venice once as a teenager in Germany because that's, we did a school trip. Of course, I didn't appreciate a thing then, but so we're going to be in Venice. And they also have a Christmas market there. And then Rimini, that has a floating nativity, San Marino with a castle and a Christmas market, and San Giovanni, where Leonardo da Vinci actually painted the Medici. Is that how you call it? The lady with, everybody knows the painting, right? And then the last day is Milan, where there's also a Christmas market. So it's going to be what experience of a lifetime. And it is a luxury retreat where you get VIP treatment from day one till the end, and with lots of surprises sprinkled in between. So I can't wait. So if you know anybody, if you're watching this and you know anybody who's always wanted to go to Italy and enjoy the winter season with Christmas markets, if you're a Christmas fan, and get one-on-one coaching on your family life. So can't get better than that.
Wow. Well, I'll share a secret. I used to live in Germany, and my favorite were particularly wintertime in visiting
Oh,
the Christmas markets and drinking Glühwein.
Glühwein,
And
yes.
yes, I love Glühwein.
Oh, how exciting. Where were
And
you in
so
Germany?
in Frankfurt,
Yeah.
and then not last Christmas, but the Christmas before, or holiday in December, I was in Wiesbaden. And so
Oh,
and I would go a few times a week, the
nice.
time that I was there, just because it's an experience like no other. And so I congratulate you, and
Thank
I'm
you.
excited for all the women that you're going to attract for this, because it is going to be such an experience for them, but then they walk away with bringing back
Yes.
things that are just immeasurable
Yes.
in
It
terms
will
of.
stay with them. Yes. The transformation will always stay with them. Exactly.
Wow. So that was just a beautiful recap of everything. And so to end our little interview time, can you share one fun fact about yourself?
So, which one? I'm gonna say that as a teenager, I was in a rock and roll dance group. In my class we did ballroom dancing. Like a few of our girls went to do ballroom dancing, and then one of the next courses was rock and roll. So I did that, and not everybody knows that.
Oh, I could see you in that.
Was fun.
Yes.
It was fun. Yes.
Well, I can imagine that in your holding and traveling with the women in your space, you're just going to love on them and have as much,
Yes.
fun as much as the work part. So it won't feel like work. It'll
Yes.
just feel like, we're coming together and and I think also for women, it's so important for them to realize that, it's the business of life, right? And
Mm,
these skills in at every moment as much as we do in the workplace.
yes.
And so for you to just like present it all in such a magical way, I just wish you and your clients the best.
Yes. Thank you. And anybody interested, reach out. I'll send you the link with more information.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for our time today. And to all of you watching, the Powerball team retreat is just an incredible growing community of women and a few men that are leading retreats that have different twists based on something that you might be interested in. So make
Exactly.
sure to look them up, and they're ongoing. And so they're all very special, and you don't just have to pick one. You can pick as many as you want.
That's right. That's right.
So
Thank you, Allison. It was a pleasure
thank
to
you,
be here with
Isabel.
you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.